has a doctor's appointment also, don't you, Dave?
No, I rearranged that so I could chat with this fine group of Catamount Rotarians. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, well, then we can get started. We usually pledge allegiance to the flag.
Whoa.
And Alice doesn't need
Certainly
to
do
stand
that.
up, but that's all right. Okay. You want to start us, Jenica? She can't hear me. She's muted. I'm sorry.
I was muted. I pledge allegiance
Allegiance
to
to the flag
the flag
of the United States of
of
America and to the
To the
republic
republic
which
which
stands
stands
one nation under God, indivisible,
with
and liberty
liberty and justice
for all. Great, that's great. Now, the four-way test of the things we say, think, or do. How about TR?
Sure. The four-way test of the things we think, say, or do. First, is it the truth?
The truth.
Second, is it fair to all concerned? Third, will it build goodwill? Fourth,
Fourth, will it be beneficial to
Beneficial.
all? Okay, great. All right, well, we most importantly, we need to hear some happy dollars. Whether we get the actual dollars in or not is another thing. But does anybody have any happy dollars?
I do.
There's Mike McKenna.
We had a guest at Rotary a couple of years ago named Stephen Butts, and he was here talking about the Shays development or Shays settlement. And I bought the book. I was really enthused that day. I bought the book and it's been on my nightstand ever since. And I just finished it and it's a really great read. So if anybody's looking for, something to pass the winter nights, this is a quick read. It's really well written. The way he does it, he talks history in one chapter and then archaeology in the next chapter, and he goes back and forth. And it's really, I knew Bennington County had a lot of history, and this shed some light on it, way more than I ever knew. And I think everybody might enjoy it.
Yes.
That's my happy dollar.
Mike, I have tried to go up to his site that he excavated because I had come to know him a little bit, and he did run a camp up there, an archaeology camp, but he really doesn't want a lot of people tramping around. I was never able to get there.
Yeah, I can imagine. Well, it's really interesting. This book, as I finished it last night, it was published in 2017, so it's really kind of fresh. And in the book, he had only identified about 5 or 6 buildings at the time of the writing. And he figures there was well over 100 people living there, maybe even 200 people, I believe. And so he had a lot more work to do. It might be fun to get him back into Rotary at some point as things start to normalize post-COVID. I bet he would come back.
Good.
I can tell you that I read it when I got the book too, Mike. I read it then. I can't say I remember everything that I read, but it was very, very interesting. They had a hard time up there, though.
They did. And it was pretty remarkable. So without spoiling the story, this Daniel Shays was a Revolutionary War hero, and he served for George Washington. And it's really fascinating. As the war ended, the government couldn't afford to pay the soldiers. And part of the problem was certainly in Western Massachusetts, where a lot of this was happening, Massachusetts in general, but in Western Massachusetts, it was a large agrarian economy, as it was for the whole country at that time, I believe. But what happened was all these farmers really mortgaged the farm to survive and then go fight for the revolution. And then they weren't able to pay back their debt. And we had debtors' prisons. And so these poor farmers went to jail. And this Daniel Shays kind of rebelled against that. And so he was a war hero. They don't really use the word treason on him that much in the book, but he was clearly not what the government wanted. And it got to a point where he fled to Vermont.
Yeah.
And it just talks about, it doesn't use the word American exceptionalism, but it definitely describes how lucky we are as this whole thing played out for all sides. It was really, really kind of neat.
The farmers were getting screwed.
Yes. Yep. They were.
Going to debtor's prison after fighting.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Any other happy dollars?
There's snow at Prospect.
Yes, the snow is pretty good. They have not put a track in yet because there isn't quite enough snow, I guess, to put a track in. But the skiing is.
I got a happy
pretty
dollar. So I took my family up to Prospect for pretty much for the first time. I've been to Prospect once before, about 10 years ago, and it was great. It was really fun. I mean, it was a little, what do they call it? Rough and gnarly around the edges. But I got to see John there and I saw Mike there. First time ever. It was really great. And I bought the family pass and I'm gonna wake up at 4:30 in the morning, John, and I'm gonna go. It was fun. I need some different gear, but I'll try to figure all that stuff out.
Well,
but it was really great.
Well, that's
It
good.
was
'cause we're
very
gonna talk
squirrely
about
that-
Prospect.
What was
It
that?
was very squirrely that day we were up there.
The nice thing is we're going to talk about Prospect
That's right.
with Peter.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, with Dave. Peter's his son. I know Dave's kids.
Oh, the Olympian.
Yeah, he's the father of an Olympian. Not only somebody who's done a lot for our community. So can we start?
I have a happy dollar. We have time, right?
Yes.
So it was very exciting. So yeah, Eli's school was all remote in the month of December up to Christmas break. And so with that, we had some flexibility to be able to like self-isolate as a family. And my brother's family did so as well. And then just this past weekend, we were up there and, we haven't stayed like, maskless and in the same house with them for literally a year. And it was really great to spend time with my niece and nephew, and they're 2 and 4 years old, and obsessed with Eli because he's a big guy. And it was just really nice. Yeah, so
Great.
Yeah.
Well, everybody been watching the football finals that are going on. I guess they're having all kinds of controversy over that. And with the Giants, there's some kind of controversy going on. But the season seems to be doing well, even without many people in the stands. Still exciting for me. I don't go to the stands anyway, so watching it on TV is all I ever do. Have you been watching the cross country skiing, David? The girls?
Small amount, John. Yeah, it is on NBC Sports and some other websites if you want to watch the World Cup cross country ski racing. Tour de Ski is going on now. Resumes again today.
Yeah.
Right.
And the girls are doing great.
Yeah, Jessie won the other day, and Jessica Diggins, Olympic medalist, did win the first weekend event at the Tour de Ski. For you folks that are interested in that.
I think that's phenomenal.
She is excellent. Yeah.
She talked at Prospect.
Yes, she did. in 2018,
That's
the
right.
year, right.
Is there any other happy dollars? Well, if that is the case, is there any business that we need to get into for right now? How are we doing with what happened with the Spirit of Sharing? Did it all work out? Jessica?
Jenica.
Jenica, I'm sorry. I always say Jessica.
Yeah.
Jenica.
Yeah, it all worked out, and I sent out the email, and TR, Cindy, and Kathy have volunteered to write some thank you notes. There are a lot to be written, so if anyone else would like to help out with that, that would be great. And yeah, I just need to coordinate that with Jim and get that information off soon, and we'll have the thank you notes out. And we basically we reached 100 more kids than we did last year.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
Yeah, it was really hectic on their end, but she's been showing on the Spirit of Sharing Facebook page. She's been showing thank you notes from the the parents of the recipients lately, which has been nice.
Also, some of that shopping was done on Main Street instead of Walmart. Some of it was done at Knapp's.
Yeah.
Hopefully, Hallmark made a real effort to try to do some shopping there, unless it was a specific request.
So it all worked out. That's great to hear.
Yep.
And good. So what is our plan for this schedule next? Let's see, I'm thinking of the dates and social. Are we having a social this month?
I have not heard yet.
Okay,
It would be a Zoom social.
right. Okay.
BYO.
The pandemic has not gone away as of yet, but we only have a few more months, I think.
Oh.
That's what I'm believe anyway, or I want to hope for. And then we can get back together again. So we will have just a Zoom meeting next week and the week after, and you'll keep us informed if the social comes out, okay?
Yes.
Okay, great. Is there any other business?
I don't have business per se, but I did see Jenka's note that was circulated on the credit card points. And I thought it was very clever that the credit card companies had put together. And it could move a particular housing remedy forward for a family. If they want to be, if the community took it on as a project. So it caught my attention, and I think in the future we should spend some time to discuss it. So.
Yeah, thanks. It has to like come from individuals, I think. And there has to be a minimum number of points. But yeah, I just recently learned of it and signed up. So I'm on the waiting list. So if they have an individual or family who would be able to use, the points that I could offer, then they will be, the organization will contact me, and then we kind of together, get the ticket for them. So it's, yeah, I think it's great. Like, I don't need points. What am I going to do with points?
There was several weeks ago, maybe 2 or 3 months, there was an article in the Bennington paper that a group of people were going to push ahead with getting the wood furnaces to be more common to support their construction in individual homes. I hadn't seen anything lately, but I saved the article. And I think, a wood furnace is not a reasonable idea. Do you know of any people that have wood furnaces?
I have a wood furnace.
Yeah. The points could tie together into a budget for an individual family. That would be an outlet for it, among 1,000 other things. So, just an observation.
I love my wood furnace, but I'm probably weird about it. So it's a lot of work, though. I want to just tell you, I mean, thinking of older people, a wood furnace is not is not easy.
Do you think there's many people in the Bennington area that have wood furnaces? I've spotted maybe 4 or 5 of them. That's all.
Well, I know 2 or 3 people that have what I have, which is a tarm. It's a special kind of heating system where it's air injected furnace that heats in my case, it heats an 850 gallon water tank. And in that tank are coils that heat my house, that heat my hot water, heat my swimming pool. So but don't ever think that it is not a lot of work if you don't like doing it. And I happen to like it, but it is a lot of work. I put 15 cord a year through it.
So John, I don't want to hold Dave up in case he has to go to work.
Yes.
And I think Bill might be leaving soon.
Nope, time to go.
Yeah, so I just want to say thank you to Dave for joining our early morning Zoom. And I think all of you know Dave for all of his community activities. He's been on college boards, library boards. And I asked him today to come and talk about the purchase of Prospect Mountain, which was owned privately and is now owned by a group of community folks. Actually, Dave could explain that. And maybe explain the purchase, because it's not easy to purchase a mountain, is it, Dave?
Well, that's true. In the morning, Catamount Rotarians, we have a couple Prospect veterans on the call. That'd be Kathy Chinowski, John Goodrich, have been strong supporters of Prospect for many years, and their children were competitors in skiing, and they've had a lot of fun up there. You all know where it is. We're on Route 9 in Woodford, right on top of the mountain. And Kathy's right. In 2018, September 2018, the Prospect Mountain Association was formed, which is a 501c3 nonprofit organization, and we're able to purchase the mountain and 144 acres and all the equipment and the vehicles and the buildings from Stephen Whittam and Andrea Amadeo, who owned it for the prior 26 years. They did a pretty good job of keeping it open. We kept Steve Whittam on as our mountain manager, which has worked quite well. He knows a tremendous amount about the facility. He's worked there 40 years for prior owners before him. We felt that it was important to keep the area open and available for Nordic skiing and for the community. I think we've succeeded in that. This is now our third winter. The prior 2 winters, we had a little bit better start from the snow standpoint than we have this year, but as John Goodrich pointed out, we are open, and Prospect is almost always open with something because of the elevation we have up there and the ability we have to retain the snow. And it really isn't too bad now. A little squirrely, but it could be worse. Some brief history. The mountain goes all the way back to the late 30s, and it was started as an alpine ski area up there by Alexander Drysdale, who was a retailer, a department store retailer in Bennington. His Drysdale department store is now right next to the Putnam Block, where Jay's Cards and Gifts building is. It's a building that housed his store. Over the years, it had a bunch of different owners. Willie Morse, local contractor, owned it from 1960 to 1980. It was strictly an alpine area at that time, no cross-country skiing. In 1980, a guy named Joe Parks bought it. He owned it for 9 years to 1989, and Joe Parks put the first Nordic skiing trails in there in 1982, along with some help from Peter Graves and Bucky Broomhall and some others. When it was briefly owned by another individual, Tom Trant, and Steve Whittam and Andrea bought it in 1992. And at that time, they phased out the alpine skiing at Prospect Mountain, which, as nice as it was for the community, is very hard to keep the snow reliable for that, and the expense and the issues of running the lift, which was quite outdated. Decided to phase that out, and it has been phased out since then. So our goal is to make it as good a Nordic air as we possibly can. We're still working on that. Just this past summer, we finally took out the old lift houses and the lift mechanism from our, what we call our stadium area. So that's now gone, which opens it up a bit there. It's gone fairly well. We certainly rely on a lot of volunteer support to keep it going, Prospect. We have a pretty good number of season pass holders, which helps us get through this, over 100 or so. We do encourage day passes to come up there. We also have snowshoe trails available for folks that are well marked, and we have rental skis for those who don't have equipment, as well as lessons available if you want to do that. We're open every day. The COVID experience has limited what we can do in our lodge, which is really a focal point of what Prospect is. It's a pretty nice area to warm up and hang around and sit around the wood stove and have something to eat. We have a nice food service up there. But this year it's takeout only for that. We this year do have online ticket reservations, rental available, as well as a takeout window for tickets when you come up to the mountain. So we have about 30K of trails. They're groomed when the conditions permit that. During a good year, we of course have the Mount Anthony Union High School practices and races there. The Berkshire League down in Massachusetts does the same, and of course Williams College as well. Some of the particulars on the purchase on this is we bought the ski area for $900,000. We were able to do that with half of that, $450,000, as a donation from alumni of Williams College, with the thought that, of course, their ski team does train there. The rest of it we raised ourselves with some fine donations from many folks who generously gave us some support. And we got a grant from the Vermont Housing and Conservation Board, and we were assisted by the Vermont Land Trust in doing that. That was for $285,000, and in exchange for that, we've preserved the 122 acres on the mountain from development. And it's now an easement, which of course is open for public use for hiking and skiing. That's how we were able to do it. We have a board of directors. 4 folks on it are from Williams College. The rest are from the general community. Where plans long-term are to continue to improve the trails, which we did some of that this summer. And we would like ultimately, which is a huge task, to get some type of snowmaking up there. And certainly if we all experience the weather we're experiencing now, you know why that is. Snow is not as reliable as it was back in the good old days when Willie Morse owned that place and there was great snow all winter. So we hope to slowly move in that direction. We have a snowmaking pond up there that's been approved, and we're developing some plans for that, but it would involve a rather substantial community effort, and we would need some pretty solid donors to make that work. In the meantime, we're trying to keep the trails open and improved. And we do have some events even this year. Later this month, there'll be a New England Nordic Skiing Association event for 20 and under skiers up there, we hope. No spectators, unfortunately, this year. And the Bill Koch League is a youth ski league, very active there, not active this year kids are just training on their own, but that's generally kids that are 13 and under that want to enjoy skiing and some racing. And they're based there too. So that's what we're doing, and we hope that it's a benefit to the community. We think it is. We'd like to encourage folks, as Ron just pointed out, to come on up and enjoy our ski area there. We're glad to work with some school groups, Ron, and get back to John Cohen on the South Shore School program. We're glad to invite kids up to learn how to ski and to experience it for the first time. Our budget, round numbers, it's a little over 200,000 a year we gross there. That's from all sources. Most of it is from season passes and day passes, a little bit from a retail shop we have, and the food service. We have one full-time employee, which is Steve Whittam, the fellow we bought it from, and we bring in part-timers to help us manage it during the wintertime. So that's our story, and we're glad to take some questions, and certainly would encourage you all to come up, and John Goodrich can teach you how to cross-country ski.
No, not anymore.
Yeah.
My days are gone. A couple of things, David. What role is Williams College taking in the snowmaking?
Well, we've had some good support from their alumni so far in permitting and dredging the pond, which we did last year. That whole process, we had to dredge a pond, get it approved, get a wetlands permit. It's quite a lot involved in this, which would be the water source we'd use for snowmaking. We did all that, and we had some support. It cost us about $75,000 from a Williams College alum to do that. That individual's pledged us another 25 to continue the planning, which we're doing on developing a trail where the snowmaking would go, and which also involves wetlands permits and Act 250 permits and some other things, as well as a design for the snowmaking system itself. So it actually is not the college, John, but is alumni that have helped us out so far on that.
Okay.
So Dave, I can't see you guys because I touched something, but I'm wondering how many K would a snowmaking are you thinking?
Well, it'd be somewhere in the 3.5 to 4, something of that nature, ultimately.
Okay.
It would include some area around the lodge, of course, as well.
Mm-hmm.
We also are trying to get a trail, what's known as an FIS homologated trail approved, and on that would be the snowmaking. And that would be, as you're looking at Prospect now, pretty much on our mountain area. When you gaze over from Route 9, you'll see the old downhill trails.
Yeah.
It would be kind of winding in and out of there, and we're working on that now as well, which
Okay.
means we could have races that would be certified by the International Ski Federation there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we should also mention Prospect's cookies. A part of your 200,000, some of that must be the cookies that are sold at
Yeah, half of it is cookie sales, right?
They have the biggest cookies you could imagine, and it's very fun to see kids begging for them and lining up and when the concession is open. I mean, some wonderful things happen when the concession is open, and the trails are so full of all of these teams, and it just and it has one of the nicer cross-country lodges that I've ever been to, because of course it was at one point an alpine lodge. So there's, for myself, I'm so happy Dave could talk about Prospect. We're really 3 generations of Chianowskis. I mean, we came as city people and started, just to get through this long winter. And then my children skied for MAU, and then my grandchildren skied for MAU. So it's pretty close to our hearts. And the fact that it was Dave and company did all this work to keep it within the community. We are so very grateful to you, Dave, because I can't imagine all the things you do. That you must have a to-do list that could, I don't know, choke an elephant.
Well, I appreciate it, Kat. We had a lot of help in this. We've got a great volunteer base that helps Prospect, both financially and also with just doing things up there.
Mhm.
I should mention the town of Bennington during our campaign gave us a $10,000 donation,
Oh, wow.
realizing that it really is important for economic development to have Prospect going in the community. And it is. And we have 0 events this year, but we will have some in future years, which does bring a couple hundred folks to town 2 or 3 times in the winter.
Mhm.
Hey,
David?
David,
Yeah.
is there a snowshoe event that I mean, I remember something being
Yes.
a national snowshoe event.
Yeah, we've had 2 of them, Ron. We've
Okay.
had 2 of the U.S. National Snowshoe Championships up there, 2014 and 2018. Right.
Okay. Okay. So, I mean, is this on the map and on the nation? I mean, as far as a cross-country, outdoor, Nordic, I mean,
Well, we're on their list, and we have some local guys, Bob Dion Snowshoes, and Tim Van Orden, who are active in the snowshoe community.
oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
And both of we worked pretty closely with them both times. They enjoyed having it at Prospect, and their goal, I'm sure, is to bring it back here. It moves across the country. I'm not
Oh,
sure.
okay.
I'm not sure how robust it'll be this year, but it goes Midwest and then Mountain Region, then Far West, then comes back. But we should get it again when it comes back to the East Coast.
Okay. Any like telly or backcountry events that happen?
We don't have any organized events for that. We're fine with folks doing that up there if they want to do that. You can take off from our groom trails and wander a ways. We hope we don't get lost up there, which is important.
Right.
But the mountain is available for that type of thing, including hiking in the off season.
Yeah, and Dave, I'm seeing more and more people who are skinning up. You know, the first time I saw that, I thought, oh God, and then they telly down. So Ron, there is, you'll see people putting their skins on and going up, and then
Yeah.
you can see the lines on the snow, you know, where they telly down.
Yeah, I'm thinking of getting some skins because I telly normally. I ski at Bromley mostly,
Mm-hmm.
but this year it's just been so weird.
David, can you hear me?
Yes, Alice.
Do you ask the towns for money each year?
We don't, Alice. They were generous to help us when we initially purchased the ski area, our association, but we don't ask for any public money beyond that.
Why is that?
Well, I guess I'm going to say initially we haven't needed it, which presumably is good. If we launch into some major capital campaigns, and I described the snowmaking and the trail work for you, it's possible we could go back to the towns and ask for some additional support.
This
But
is an incredible effort, and thank you for what you have done.
we are a taxpayer. We do pay property tax in Woodford. We're not exempt from that.
Hmm.
We pay them about $10,000 a year in local property tax.
Oh. That must be
David,
fun.
you
That must be
haven't talked at
worth-
all about Andy. All of you know that David is the father of one of our great Olympians
Yes,
in cross-country skiing. And
they do.
he
Well,
was
thank you,
in how
John, for
many
that
Olympics?
description. I'm not
Olympics?
sure Andy was a great Olympian. He was an Olympian. He wasn't a great one, but he participated for 16 years. He was a member of the U.S. ski team and was
Right, that's a long
involved
time.
in 4 different Olympic events.
Whew.
And he
Well-
started at Prospect Mountain.
Yes, he started in Bill Koch.
That's right.
Yeah.
Hey, Dave, is there any like condos or anything? Is there any like rentals, Airbnb? Is there options for, vacation, family vacation?
We don't offer that as part of what we have, Ron, but it is available. I'm sure some of the folks who have homes on Woodford Lake do Airbnbs up there.
Okay,
And it's available both in Bennington and in Woodford. But we're not in the lodging business.
right, okay.
The gentleman that owns the campground right next to us, Ed Shea, known as Greenwood Lodge, is not open in the wintertime. He is open in the summertime for his campground there.
I see, okay.
Ed chooses to close it in the winter. That'd be a nice spot for folks to rent that lodge in the wintertime. And Ed has been very cooperative with us and lets us use multi-K on his land for trails, which we do.
I
He
see.
just donates that to us.
That's
We
great.
have a nice tie-in with him. But that's the answer to your question there.
Okay.
How many outsiders, out of state people come in?
A lot.
A lot.
Yeah, probably half of our season pass holders are from out of state at least. And that would be New York, Massachusetts, et cetera, Connecticut, New Jersey.
Wow.
Yeah.
How do you handle the pandemic?
Well, if you go on our website, you'll see that now. In theory, you're supposed to have quarantined for 14 days or have a test of negative test and for 7 days when you
Yes.
come up. And we are required by the state to have folks attest to that when you come up to the mountain. You can use your phone or your laptop and answer a few questions and say yes. So we think most folks are complying with that. We also think that the activity of cross-country skiing outside is pretty low risk when it comes to the virus.
Sure.
And we aren't letting folks inside the lodge, unfortunately, except for using the bathroom one at a time this year. And otherwise you're outside, and if you wanted to get a rental, you can come in one at a time to our rental shop. So it's, I think, fairly well controlled.
Well, I think if we could survive this pandemic, I mean, who would have thunk it? Prospect's only been in your hands for what, 3 years, right? Was it 3 years, Dave?
This is our third winter, right? Third year.
And so our third winter, we get hit with this business issues for everybody. And when you think about the races that were there and the high school kids that were there, and then if you can survive that with such a smaller population, that'll be a small miracle.
Did
How
you,
many cross-country areas are there in Vermont? And
Pretty good handful of them. There's some small ones and some larger ones.
Yeah.
Not too far away up in Manchester, you've got two of them, Viking and Wild Wings, which are a little bit smaller than Prospect, but they're open probably now and available. And beyond that, you can ski at the Putney School over in Brattleboro. There's a couple of very nice ones up further north. Reichert, which is near Middlebury and is owned by Middlebury College, is a very nice one. They have snowmaking there, 5K of it. It's a bit south of Middlebury. Craftsbury is well known, which is it's hard to get to, unfortunately, up in the Northeast Kingdom. But they also have some snowmaking and some fine trails and a beautiful lodge area, among others.
Dave, the one in Massachusetts, Notchwood, which is beautiful
Right.
trails. I just spoke with somebody that they don't have enough snow even to open. So Prospect's very lucky because they
Yeah.
have that little niche that gets snow. I mean, Notchwood's only a half hour from us, and there's not even able to open.
it's a nice area too, but
Yeah, yeah. And loved by their community. They just don't have snow.
right.
That's been an issue for them.
David, did you get any PPP?
We did. We got a grant from the state, which was not for employees, John, because we weren't operating. We shut down in March of last year, right when the virus became a reality. And we don't open, of course, until it snows. So we didn't really have payroll anyway during that time. And we've opened up again. But we did get about $6,000 from the state to help us with virus preparations. That was the takeout windows and the plexiglass, stuff like that, outside tables, etc., that sort of thing. Signage, we did get that.
But isn't Whittam, is he on payroll the whole season?
Yeah, he's on salary all year, but and it includes when we're not open. So we really couldn't justify the fact that we weren't open because we aren't open anyway when there isn't any snow. So it worked out pretty well.
Well, I beg to differ with you about your son. I happen to think he is a great Olympian, and I think he should be honored for Bennington and Bill Koch for all he's done.
Well, thank you, John. He's enthusiastic about the sport and still is. Now he's a coach out in Bozeman, Montana, and he has a side business, Nordic Team Solutions, for those folks that are pretty serious about the sport and want some training advice.
That's great. Are there any other questions for David?
No, just a big thank you. That's not a question. Thank you so much, Dave, for all you've done.
I agree.
And, the idea that it's only Prospect is, for us in the valley here, the amazing thing for us is it's only 15 to 20 minutes away
Right.
from most of
Very
us.
close, right? Yeah.
Mhm. And then what's down in the valley is often not what is reflected up there because, you can ski on about 5 inches of snow.
Well, it's 5 to 7 degrees colder up there every day.
Yeah.
Not every day, but 80-90% of the days. I happen to keep a log, so I know. And I go there almost every day.
Really?
I probably only miss 2 or 3 in the winter, and if I'm not
And
traveling.
John's a regular. We do have a website, which is pretty informative, including a trail cam and our weather station up there. You can know exactly what we have for wind speed, temperature, humidity, etc.
Do you
That
have internet?
cam,
Hey,
that
Dave, do you-
camera is great.
Thank you, folks.
Thank you, David.
Thank
Thank you
all
very
right,
much.
take care.
Thanks, David.
Okay, is there any other business?
Is it good?
That was great. Thank
All
you.
right.
Thank
right.
you, Ken, for bringing him
Bye,
in. That's-
guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. See,
Goodbye, everybody.
see you next
Bye-bye.
time. Bye-bye.
Next Tuesday.
Oh my God, all I had to-
Jim, can you hold on a sec?
Sure.
Can you and I just talk for a sec? No, we got you online.
Okay, goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Oops.
I gotta get out. Oh, there it is.
Okay. I guess Mike is
I'm trying to get off.
it's fine. It's just about money stuff. So I want to just quickly review the checks. There's a couple of things. Dun, dun, dun. And that text that you sent about someone. Do, 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 do. Okay, the Anunciadas. Yes. Okay. So have we gotten the one from Goldstone yet?
No, I did not get over to the post office yesterday, and I definitely will get there today. So I'm not
Okay.
sure if anything else is in there.
Okay. And yeah, so we're expecting that. Bill Devono.
Mm-mm.
Nancy Burns it's at her office. So I was going to, if she's open, I was going to swing by and pick that up this afternoon, just drop it off. The Alice one, she tried to do in PayPal, and then had she sent that in?
Let me just check. I don't believe so. My cheaters.
And I also want you just to double check the PayPal.
Yep, I gotta get the statements. I'm hoping they're in today because of I set up a link and they donate or they drop in a couple cents to make sure that it's all hooked up right. I need the statements that come in the mail to verify that. But I will be looking at that.
Okay.
No, I do not remember marrying or
Or Alice.
Yep. No, in fact, I got to, Bill never wrote out the amount on that second line of the check, so I got to try to print it and put it through myself.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just trying to, because I'll have to buy, more gift cards with whatever we get, but I'm just trying to get them all.
For the,
in
whatever's left
before
over.
Yeah, but, so I only have to do one more purchase. So maybe I'll reach out to Ed and Alice. Because they both said that they would donate, but I don't think we have anything from them, so I will check with them. I'm pretty sure Goldstone is in the mail. And yeah, I don't know about the Bill Devenow and Lindy Anderson. I'll pick up, and John Cohen too.
All right, no, I don't remember. No, I don't believe so. I did take a picture of the envelopes from that first batch of checks that I got and deposited. I didn't think to do the checks, but I do have envelopes. And I do have a picture of all the addresses on the last round of checks that I received.
Okay, so can you send those all to me?
Yes.
Great. I will get that out. Yeah, we have, let's see, like 20. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 4. Yeah, I think we have like 16 thank yous so far to write.
All right, I got 22
But
checks.
I was taking out the rotaries. Like we don't, do we have to write a thank you to Kathy?
Kathy or Bill or, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
We are.
Yeah, so we should, so I've got 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 22 total.
Right.
Minus the few we just won't do. Okay. Yeah, I think that's it. Just
Yeah, I'll
send
get them out
me
to you today.
those pictures and then we'll be good to go.
Okay, will do.
All right. Thanks a lot.
All right, we'll see you, Jenica.
Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye.